going to get started. And if you come on, we'll say hello to you. We'll give you a shout out. And I really appreciate everybody that's taken the time to join us tonight. I know it's a little bit different. I know you're probably getting tired of me saying this. He keeps saying this. It's different. But it's amazing how we can use technology. We can come on in the morning. We can come on at night. And God just keeps giving us plans how we can keep doing church. Power outages, pandemics, porcupines, anything else that starts with P. They tried to stop us, but we're like, no, we're going to keep doing church online. And so we're just going to go into a time of worship now. And I just really believe that even when we aren't together, we can still worship. Even though we might be individually as families worshiping together, I would just really encourage you, take this time, get together with your family, gather with your family, and let's worship and let's sing these songs together because they're about God. And we can worship, we can love God wherever we are, whether we're in our home, whether we're here in a church building, whether you're driving in your car, whether you're at your cottage or your cabin or you're out in your boat, wherever you might be, we can worship God. So let's just take some time now and let's just worship God together.
Shining light and let the whole world see. We're singing
These songs, and it's amazing because we're going to be looking at this word blessing in just a few minutes. So it's neat how the Holy Spirit he brings this stuff all together, and he brings flow, he brings unity to those that are involved in putting on these services, and I just want to give some shout outs because I think that's good to do. And I was watching an online service this afternoon because the power came back on, and that's what I wanted to do. But I really appreciate my wife Amy, who runs the camera. She keeps it going, and she makes sure that it's on and running, and I just really appreciate how she just helps do all the technical stuff, and even she helps to upload the videos later to YouTube. So for all the YouTubers out there, you can thank my wife for uploading it. And then I really appreciate Benoit and Jose. They've been leading worship each and every week, and I really just love their hearts and their attitudes. They are true worshipers. They are not just singing songs. And I really hope that you see that through the camera, that we're really trying to build a climate of worship, and they are a big part of doing that. They lead so well, and they're like, I don't care if there's one person watching or 100 people, we're going to worship God. And I just love that attitude and that. So thank you so much to them. And I just am thankful to you guys for joining us each week. I know it's been different, and it's not been the way that we really want to be doing church. It's definitely not the way I want it. I want to be with people. I want to get to know you. I feel like we've been here in CAP, and we still don't know a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to when we can gather again. But there are a few people now that I can see that you're here. So this is great. Hello, Amy. Welcome to the Moran family. I think we gave you a shout out, but we'll do it again. Thank you so much. Jose, all the way from the Life Center. Thank you. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Ed Bryant, welcome. So glad that you are joining us. Don, great to see you. Well, I can't see you actually. You can see me. But I'm glad that you're here as well. Yes, definitely miss you all soon and very soon. It seems like it's a song. I feel like that's a song. Andre, thank you for joining us. I think that's it for now. So if you come on, please give me a shout out. Let me know that you're here so I can say hello to you and just connect with you. I just have one announcement, because sometimes if you do too many announcements, you lose people. So I'm just going to stick to one announcement. Father's Day is coming up next week. I have had a couple of videos submitted. I need more videos. So I need you dads, do something adventurous, crazy. If it's just you sitting there playing video games with your kids, I'll take it. Send in your video. Find somebody in your family, or find one of your kids that just doesn't want to be on the video to film your video. It doesn't have to be long, like 20, 30, 40 seconds, no more than 2 minutes. We're not looking here to get you a big blockbuster deal here. We just need a video of you doing something with your kids. There will be prizes. The deadline is Saturday, June the 19th, and we're going to do some prize draws next week. It's going to be some gift cards. It's going to be some books. It's going to be some great stuff. So you will want to be a part of this. So please send me your videos, because I want to see you dads in action with your kids. I know that you thrill seeker dads, or you crazy dads out there, you love to do stuff with your kids. So please submit your video to abundantlifepastordan@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook page. There is a post, and you can post your video right on our Facebook page. So please get your videos in this week. I want to see you dads. I know you're doing stuff with your kids. You're videotaping it. Send it to me. I'd love to see it. So yeah, that's Saturday. I need the videos by Saturday. And it gives me, I love watching them. And some of them are very entertaining so far that I've seen. So keep them coming, please. All right, I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, I've said hello to everybody. Glad that you're here. We are continuing our series called Happy Trails. And like I said last week, we are looking at 4 of the Psalms that are called the Songs of Ascent. Or another word would be the Songs of the Travelers. This was like their Spotify playlist. These are the songs that they were singing. It was their jam. It was the song they're like, this is what gets me excited, gets me pumped up. And they were just singing these songs as they went on their journey. And a fun little fact too is that Jesus, when he was a boy on earth, would have learned these psalms as well. And so he would have sang these songs around his house, where he went. So Jesus as a boy would have also sang these songs. And so today we're going to look at Psalm 128. And kind of the theme of this psalm, and kind of the theme of this title for today's message is what the good life looks like. We're going to be kind of looking at what the good life looked like. Because all of us really, we want a good life. We want our lives to go well. And so this is what we're going to be looking at tonight. So it's in Psalm 128. If you have a Bible, or if you have a Bible app, let's just read this. How happy is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. You will surely eat what your hands have worked for. You will be happy, and it will go well for you. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house, your children like young olive trees around your table. In this very way, the man who fears the Lord will be blessed. May the Lord bless you from Zion, so that you will see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life, and will see your children's children. Peace be with Israel. What we see right away that kind of shows up in Psalm 128 is the word blessing. And maybe for some of your translations, it shows up as happy, as I just read it. But what this word means in the Hebrew, it actually means happy, happy. And anytime in the Bible, when they would translate a word, and it was like a double meaning, it was happy, said the word two times in a row, that meant that you wanted to pay attention to this word. It would have caught the attention of the Israelites. They would have been like, we need to see, what does this mean? What is he talking about here when he uses the word blessing, which means happy, happy? And he talks about at the very beginning that happy is everyone who walks in his, which he's referring to as his, in God's ways. So maybe you're thinking, maybe you're not, but we're going to think about it anyways. What does it mean to walk in God's ways? I don't know, maybe you've never thought about it. Maybe you don't even know what that means. You're like, what do you mean walk in God's ways? What are you talking about here? But what this is really saying is you want to look at Jesus. What we know about Jesus, what was written about Jesus, what people said about Jesus. If you want to know how to walk in God's ways, how to look like God, you want to look at Jesus. A big part of Jesus when he came to earth was that he wanted to show people what God looked like, how God treated people, how God was. So when we think about walking in God's ways, we only need to look as far as looking at Jesus. And so Psalm 128 is going to show us 4 benefits that we're going to look at tonight of walking in God's ways. The first thing that we see is it is blessings on our feelings. And in verse 2, it says, you will surely eat what your hands have worked for. You will be happy, and it will go well for you. What we're looking at here is that all of us experience feelings. Sometimes We are happy. Life is like, woo! I love my life. Sometimes your feelings are very sad. Sometimes your feelings are very angry. You get hostile even. Sometimes when people are very hungry, we call them hangry. There's just this anger that comes, this Hulk just takes over them and they become this completely different person. Sometimes we're impatient. Sometimes we're curious. Sometimes we're sympathetic, empathetic. There's all different feelings. And this week, when they began to say that the province was about to open, I cheered inside a little bit. I think I even raised my hands when I saw that. Nobody was around me, so I don't have any proof, but just trust me, I did it. And then, just as quickly as I was cheering and was excited and happy, I heard the news that our Porcupine Health Unit was not moving forward. My happiness quickly turned to anger. Yes, I know, pastors get angry. It's true. Just ask my wife. She will tell you. But I was upset, and I was like, man, I was so looking forward to going and being able to shop for underwear and get new socks, to sit out on a patio and have a Coca-Cola. I was just so, and then it just felt like, we have to continue waiting. But we experienced these feelings. And what David is trying to tell us here, what the psalmist is trying to tell us, is that we can have blessings on our feelings. That when we walk in God's ways, that it doesn't matter what comes along. You might have the absolute worst day, or you might have the very best day. But what he said in there is that it will go well with you. It's this idea that it will be well with your soul. Just like the hymn that we sometimes sing, that it doesn't matter what's going on in our life. Everything around us could be chaos. Could just be, people might be looking at us going, how do you survive in that? But if we are walking in God's ways, if we are truly following God, if we have a relationship with God, we can say with full confidence that it is still well with our soul. Whether we have church online, whether we have church in a building, whether it's church in a home, wherever we are, whether life is great, life is not great, life has actually been very terrible, we can still say with confidence, it is well with my soul. That we can have blessings on our feelings. The second thing is that we can have blessings on our finances. Now maybe some people right now are going, ooh, please share me your secret. Blessings on our finances? Ooh. Well, you might not like what I'm going to say. But what he's saying here is that following God's ways, it says, you will surely eat what your hands have worked for. When you are following God's ways, it is impossible to be lazy. Now, some of you might have been like, ouch. Yes, if you are truly following God, you are not a lazy person. See, you are a person that if you're following God, you want to be a person that works hard. That you want to be creative. You want to have ingenious ideas. You are going to give your best effort. See, if you are truly following God, this is the kind of mindset. This is the way that you are going to live your life. You are going to be disciplined. You are going to want to see satisfaction. And so because of that, when you work hard, when you give your best effort, you're rewarded with a paycheck. You're rewarded with money. And then you can take that money and you make sure that you steward it well. You take care of the resource that you have. But the psalmist is saying here, if we work hard, that our finances will be blessed. That you will see the blessings of God through your finances. And for some of you right now, that means that you need to put together a resume. You need to maybe apply to some places that, well, that's just beneath me. But you know what? It's a chance for you to provide for your family. Some of you are going to have to maybe make some sacrifices and put together a budget because you're just going crazy with your spending. And then you wonder where your money went. But we need to be disciplined. We need to work hard, whatever that might be. I remember there was a time in my life when I was kind of in between churches, and I ended up working in Loblaws meat department. They were hiring, and I said, I'll take it. And I loved it because I got opportunities to share Jesus with people. I remember praying with people in the freezer of the meat department. It's amazing. Then you just follow what God is wanting you to do, that He will provide for you. But sometimes that's going to mean you're going to have to maybe work some places that, I don't know if I can do that. But it might just be for a season. Maybe you're going to be a Walmart greeter. And you're going to say hi to people. Even if you don't like people, you're going to do it. Because it means that you get to provide for your family. But the psalmist is saying, if we work hard, we can see blessings on our finances. So we can see blessings on our feelings, blessings on our finances. The third thing is blessings on our family. And maybe you've never thought of your wife this way before, but the psalmist compares your wife to a fruitful vine. And then he compares your children like young olive trees. Yeah, it says it. Read it. It says it there. But what the psalmist is saying here is, like a fruitful vine, you need to tend to that. You need to take care of it. If you want to see that vine produce fruit, you got to put some work into it. So, husbands, are you caring and loving your wife? Now, wives, you're not off the hook here, even though it doesn't say husbands, but we can speak to you for a moment. Wives, are you supporting and loving your husband? See, this idea of a fruitful vine is you want to see your wife blossom, in a word, but you want to see her be the best that she can possibly be. You want to see your husband be the best that he could possibly be. But that means it's going to take effort. It's going to take some work. It means that you're going to have to be loving, even on those days when you don't feel like being very loving. I know. I've been there a few times. Not often, but sometimes. But he says that you will see blessings on your family. And then when he talks about your children, compares them to young olive trees. A fun fact about olives is olives actually take 7 years before you actually see your first olive. It takes some time. Kids is hard work. And for some of you, you see this season of parenting like it's never going to end. I don't think I can handle these sleepless nights with babies. These toddlers just do not stop moving. Why did we teach them how to talk? All they do is talk. Talk, 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 talk back. And then you get kids with attitude. Teenagers. who think they know more than you, even not just teenagers, even some younger kids. And maybe for some of you, you're in your parenting and you think the season's never going to end. I kind of just wish they were 18 and they were out of the house, just gone. And maybe even you felt like giving up sometimes. And I think there's a parent that I'm speaking to right now that maybe even right now you're feeling like you want to just quit. You want to give up. This online schooling, everything has just buried you. Maybe you're a single parent and you just can't take it anymore. But what this is saying here is that you will see the fruit of your efforts. Just like it took that 7 years to just see one olive. The reason why there's this comparison to fruit is because we want nice, ripe, delicious fruit when we want to eat fruit. Or when people eat olives, those that like to eat olives, they want them to taste good. And so you need to spend the time to see your kids. You want to build their character. You want to teach them about God. You want to take that time and don't see it as, I wish this would never end, but try to find ways, how can I make the best of these years? How am I going to turn this around and use this season of parenting as good? Because one day they are going to be too old. And there's going to become a time when they're not going to want to listen to you anymore. So you now have these precious moments to pour into your kids. Because you will then see the fruit of your efforts. And one day your kids are going to come up and maybe they're just going to give you a big hug and tell you how much they love you just because. Or they're going to memorize a Bible verse, or they're going to be involved in church one day. And you're going to look at that and go, it was worth the effort. To see them living for God, talking about God at their school, getting involved in the church. You want to put in the effort. Even when it's hard, even when you feel like giving up, keep going. And we need to let the love of God lead how you treat your spouse and raise your children. Because, to be honest with you, change the world starts at home. A lot of us want to be, you're looking for as parents, I want to just change the world, but guess what? Those little cute faces that are looking up at you, start with them. That's where the change the world is going to start, with the people, the kids that you have been entrusted, that God has entrusted you with, to raise up, to train them up, to teach them about who God is. That's how we change the world, by starting at home. And maybe for some of you, you're thinking, well, I'm not married. I'd love to be married. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't have any kids. Again, thank you. Love to be married and love to have kids. So, are you saying that I have no purpose then? No. Because there are plenty of people around you that you can teach the ways of God to. Some of you that are young adults, you have plans. God has purposes for you. You don't need to be married. You don't have kids to be able to impact the people around you. God can use you right where you are right now, right today. So find people that you can teach the ways of God to. So the psalmist has told us about, if we follow God's ways, that we can see blessings on our feelings, blessings on our finances, blessings on our family, and the last thing is blessings on your future. See, in verse 5 to 6, It says, "May the Lord bless you from Zion, so that you will see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life, and will see your children's children." See, when the love of God is shared with our kids, we're beginning a legacy that it can last for generations to come. And maybe for some of you, you're saying, I'm a first generation Christian. Well, it can start with you. This legacy now, as you begin to pour that into your kids, and then they pour it into their kids, this could be something that could last for generations. You could be starting something right now that is going to go for generation after generation, because you have said, I am going to teach my kids about God today. And one day they may teach their kids and their kids and their kids. The psalmist is trying to say this could be something that could go on for generation after generation. Blessings on your future. And really, we want to love kids. We want to love youth. We want to love people in our church, not just to build the church just for a moment. I don't want Abundant Life Church just to last for maybe another 4 or 5 years. But this could be a place that could reach generations to come. That as we love on kids, we love on youth, love on people that come into this church, that we're not building the church just for a little bit, but we want to see this church go on for generations to come. Even after maybe some of us have left this church and moved on somewhere else, or gone somewhere else, or grown up, or moved away, that we can come back and see that this church is still active. I think it's amazing that my parents, they planted a Pentecostal church in Iroquois Falls. And that church is still going today. Years and years and years after they planted that church, after they reached out to some families, Iroquois Falls Pentecostal Church is still active today. An Abundant Life Church, that could be the same said for this church, that generations to come. So, off the bat, we talked about walking in God's ways. The question is, so why don't we walk in God's ways? If this is what the psalmist is saying, that there can be blessings on our feelings, blessings on our finances, blessings on our family, blessings on our future, why don't we do it? Why don't more people walk in God's ways? Because oftentimes God's trails don't make sense. Sometimes when God asks you to do something, He wants to take you on a journey, He wants to take you on a specific trail. You go, that's a crazy plan. I don't want to follow that trail. But yet, it's God that's leading you, that's guiding you. I remember me and my cousin, we would climb up these cliffs that were on the side of the highway out at Sault Ste. Marie. And I remember as you'd be climbing it, and there'd be times that maybe when you first started, you're like, this isn't too bad. But then it starts to get hard. Then there's this whole thing about a risk of falling to your death. That's exciting. And you're climbing up these cliffs, and sometimes I remember, I would slip and you'd go to fall, and my cousin would grab me, or I'd have to do the same for him. And we'd be climbing these cliffs. They were uncomfortable. You'd be sweating. There'd be branches whipping in your face. It felt like it was never going to end. You look and you go, are we near the top yet? No. But then you would get up to the top, and you'd stand out on the ledge, and the view would just be amazing. And you wouldn't be thinking about the climb anymore. You wouldn't be thinking about how hard this was. You wouldn't be thinking about, I was never going to make it to the top. all you can see is the beautiful view. And it is awesome. And sometimes that's like with God. Is the trail is not going to make any sense. The plan is not going to seem like it's going to work. You're going to think, God, I'm just going to tweak that a little bit because I think your plan is a little skewed. It doesn't make any sense. But following God is always the best option. Following in His ways is the best way to live. Even if it doesn't make any sense, even to the world if they think you're crazy. Why are you doing that? But following God's plans. There's a verse also in Psalm 25, verse 14, and it says this: the secret counsel of the Lord is for those who fear Him. I don't know if you caught the not so secret for walking in God's ways. It was in verse 1. It said, how happy is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in His ways. So what does this translate for us? What does this idea of fear the Lord? Does that mean that we're supposed to be petrified of Him, terrified of Him? That maybe if there is a thunder and lightning storm, don't go outside because He's got a lightning bolt just ready to He's like, oh yeah, finally Dan came out of his house. Yes. I've been waiting for this moment. Come on, angels, come on in. This is going to be fun. Man, look at this guy. He's like terrified of me. Is that what he means here? This is what we're to teach our kids, to be afraid of God? No. That's not what the psalmist is meaning at all. What this translates for us is that we stand in awe of who God is. And the psalmist started with this at the very beginning so you would get perspective that we need to stand in awe of God. What it means, I was looking at a commentary, and this is what the commentator said, is to be driven to your knees in awe and wonder of God. Driven to your knees in awe and wonder of God. And I got thinking, do you live this kind of a life? Do you live a life when you think about God that it just drives you to your knees in awe and wonder? That when you spend time in your devotions, sometimes all you can do is just say, God, thank you for who you are. Thank you for creating this world. Thank you. You are above every other person. In a worship time, do you just like, yeah, blessed, love these songs, yay, Jesus? Or when you hear these worship songs, when you read these texts and it says to fear the Lord, that you just drop to your knees. I know I don't always live that way, but we should. This is God that we're talking about. We're walking in the ways of God. We need to be standing in awe of who God is. We need to have a healthy respect for who God is. That it would drive us to our knees in awe and wonder of God. That is the kind of life that we need to be living. Walking in God's ways. I just want to take some time to pray that we would walk in God's ways, that we would live in awe and wonder of who God is. Let us just pray. God, I just pray for everyone that is watching right now, or for those that maybe will watch at a later time this week. And I pray as they read Psalm 128, that it would be reminded them and encourage them that we need to be walking in God's ways. Because when we are truly living in God's ways, we will see blessings on our feeling. We will be able to say, it is well with my soul. We will see blessings on our finances as we work hard and bring in a paycheck to support our family and ourselves. We will see our families blessed as we learn to love each other as we learn to raise our kids to follow God. And we will see blessings on our future for generations and generations. God, you will be praised. And Lord, I pray that we would have a healthy respect of who you are, God. That when it says to fear the Lord, that we would do that. We would be in awe and wonder of who you are. And we would daily say, I am going to walk in God's ways. Even when it doesn't make any sense, I will still follow God's ways. And so I pray that over people today. And I ask this, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. We're going to take some time now and we're going to worship our God. Like the psalmist says, to live in fear, to have a respect, to live in awe and wonder of who God is. So let's just take some time now and let's worship our God together.
Precious blood of Jesus, come. as you wait for the crown. Tell the world of the treasures you found. Jesus is calling. Jesus is calling.
This evening together, may we continue worshiping you and just pouring our hearts, opening our hearts for you to pour in.
Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, 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 let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good, so good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you're never gonna let me down. 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 You are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. When the night is holding on to me, God is holding on. When the night is holding on to me, God is holding on.
Just sitting here and being thankful for everything we have. God, thank you for being with us through all these times. We love you.
your constant grace remains the cornerstone. Things that we thought were dead are breathing life again. You cause your sun to shine on darkest nights. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be an anthem song. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Jesus, we love. Jesus, we love you. Jesus, we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Oh, bless and found their home. The orphans now have a home. All that was lost has found its place in you. You lift our weary head. You make us strong and stand. You took these rags and then made us beautiful. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. Jesus, we love you. Jesus, we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Jesus, we love you. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. All affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. We love you. Jesus, we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. You are the one. You are the one our hearts adore. You are the one our hearts adore.
I pray and I hope that this week the song is Jesus, we love you. That we would have such an awe and a wonder of who God is, that we would walk in His ways, even when it doesn't make sense. Which, to be quite honest, there's a lot of times that God has asked me to do things that didn't make any sense, but when I followed His ways, oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. I want to see you be happy people, but you need to follow God's ways. You need to have an awe and a wonder of who God is. There was a few other people that came on. I saw that Carrie joined us. Thank you so much, Carrie. Claire and Anna. Anna came. Thanks so much. The Odai family, the Lemon family, Jeanette. Thank you so much for joining us. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. But I'm so glad that you took the time to come and hear this message and worship together with us. And so this week, go and walk in God's ways so that you will be happy, and have a happy week.